We're getting back-to-back AniNews cut content for Lord of the Mysteries. I thought that he dropped it, but I think he has something to say about the algorithm probably on this video and how he's been covering more Overlord news, which has been amazing for him. I wish I could watch the Overlord stuff. It's just, haven't watched Overlord the anime yet. Listen, when Season 5 gets announced, release date, I will react in time. We're just waiting for that. Even if it may not happen, we're straight up just still waiting for that.
Assuming you've watched up to episode 7, everything has just come together in a way that's actually quite incredible.
Yeah.
All these events that were seemingly unrelated have now been connected in a way I'm sure not many except Kaka would have expected.
Oh my god. Shameless fucking plug. Yo, how much did this cawcaw guy pay AniNews to get a fucking ad like this? That's crazy. You know what's also fucking crazy? The red bar here. Bro actually watched my video. Now, just because the red bar is complete doesn't mean you watched the video. If I were to skip ahead to the end of this video right here, then this video would also get labeled as complete. But hey, that's kind of cool. That's actually really cool that you know, AniNews. We've been covering AniNews for a long time, man. Like, I don't even know when we started, but like I think that Eminence and Shadowcut content, season 1 stuff, like this is stuff that I was doing before I had like 3,000 subscribers. When we were averaging like 100 views per video. We come a long way, huh? We've actually come a long way. Shoutouts to AniNews, appreciate you, man.
It's all those connections that were made relatively quick though, so to help you understand how every incident has impacted Klein and led to his full digestion, here's a quick video tying it all together for you.
Let's get it.
It does have quite a bit of cut content in it too, so
give me cut content.
Spoiler-free lore not mentioned in the anime.
Let's go.
Everything you might need to help you understand the core story better. Let's get started.
Before we get started, but first, or no ad. I'm gonna go with no ad.
The essence to resolving problems with potions is through digestion, not simply controlling it.
That's right.
Controlling it
would make
the potion no different from a tamed beast, since ultimately that beast would never be part of the person.
That's right. Roselle called us children stupid and that they need to act, digest.
As tamed as that beast may be, there would always be the risk of it turning on them. The same applies to potions and its ever-present risk of madness. Unless a potion is broken down, absorbed, and fused into a person's very being, one can never fully be in control of the potion.
Okay.
What then makes digestion possible? Well, as of now, Klein knows that acting is the answer.
That's right.
The thing is, he's still not very sure of how. You see, acting can either bring his body, heart, and soul closer to the essence of what the potion is, ultimately making assimilation easier for him.
Okay.
Or it tricks the potion's defenses by mimicking its internal system, leveraging a security hole the same way a hacker would. It would disguise the body, heart, and soul in a way that made it seem like it was part of the system to begin with. Either way, there was no escaping the whole body, heart, and soul aspect since they were the only bridge connecting acting to the power of potions.
I never really thought about why, right? I just went with, okay, potion's hard to digest. You're gonna go crazy. Therefore, you need to play within the rules that you've established for, you know, your sequence name, the acting principle, and behave accordingly to it. But like, but we do that. We know that's gonna help, but it's like, why does that happen? Because of this connection, some sort of connection with your body, mind, and soul, and the essence that we're drinking.
And soul aspect, since they were the only bridge connecting acting to the power of potions.
Okay.
Klein's next question revolved around the
important symbol, super important symbol.
seer itself, wondering why such a
Go back again. Hold up. Let's bring this up here. This is the AniNews video that we just watched, the other cut content, and I want to basically bring forth the symbol that we saw regarding the secret order right there, and then hold up. Go back. This symbol right here, right?
Wondering why.
Go back.
Klein's next question revolved around the seer
Because this also existed in the symbol when Klein was fully digesting his potion last episode. There is... Is there a similarity here? Kind of. It's not... It's kind of. Not really, though. It's not a 1-for-1. But there are similarities in the overall structure. How in the middle there is seemingly some sort of eye structure. It's not the same, though. But there is something similar for sure.
Itself, wondering why such a well-learned...
I mean... It's a secret order, right? I'm sure they're gonna have it. They're gonna take inspiration from something and try to customize it and try to do something, a different spin off of it. So, anyways,
path meant he would be weaker in combat. Klein had 4 potential reasons as to why that was, but the latter 2 were what he believed.
What was the symbol that the doll showed him? Wasn't it? It was another eye symbol. Hold up, I'll bring it up here. Where is this shit? I actually do want to know right now. I'm actually... I need to know. Where is Lord of the Mysteries? Episode 7. Let's bring this up here. And... let's go to the very end. There was a puppet that showed you it, right? In the thing? Yeah. That symbol right there. Well, it's a bit different. There's like a vertical eye. Because like... There's a secret order symbol, there is like the overall seer pathway symbol, then there is the vertical eye shit. They're all like somehow connected. I don't know. They're all somehow connected.
The most. It was either potions were balanced in a way that made you strong in one area and weak in another, or the remnants of the crater from which these potions came meant they were inherently incomplete to begin with. What I mean is that if everything in the world all came from...
The annoying thing is that all the symbols have some sort of variation with the eye, and I'm like, god damn it.
The same source, that would mean all paths were fragmented.
Oh, this is really important right here, right? Eyes, right? I think that... And these are all like mythical creatures. Sun and the Crimson Moon. But like, I think it's bullshit. I think this is bullshit, bro. Straight up. I think that the Sun and the Crimson Moon are supposed to be Sequence Zero Beyonders. That they're godhoods. But like, this is the mythos.
Of that source. So, for Klein's seer path to lack combat strength, that was simply a reflection of how that fragment of the crater manifests itself.
Okay.
It was an explanation that was certainly logical, but one Klein couldn't rely on since it was based off a myth.
Exactly. Klein is doubting it, we should be doubting it, but I'm sure there's some important information from there.
Next, Klein would focus on how his luck ritual was inherently incomplete too, mainly because it was ritual magic lacking any sort of guidance. With most ritual magic being divided into 3 parts, Klein's luck ritual only had 2. He had come to realize his attempts never conveyed what he was asking for. This opened the door for whatever entity he was calling to act whichever way they wanted, making him wonder for what purpose were they operating with.
I feel like that was very important, right? So, we're missing a request. A symbol that convey what one is asking for. We're not asking for anything, and therefore this happened.
Luck ritual only had 2. He had come to realize his attempts never conveyed what he was asking for. This opened the door for whatever entity he was calling.
Maybe someone else is taking advantage of this now. We never requested, someone else is now inserting themselves in.
To act whichever way they wanted, making him wonder for what purpose were they operating with.
Well, we were here and then we touched the red star and then we... So think of this room. Hold up. Think of this room as like... We're about to make the request. You know what I'm saying? Because like right here, we are in a gray fog. We don't know what we're doing. We turned the TV on. It's static. Now we gotta have the remote control and we gotta actually go to a channel. And Klein touches this thing and boom, Mysterious Palace, we bring in Alger and Alger.
Were they doing whatever they thought was best given the moment, or were they perhaps
It's like
acting
a lobby.
under some sort of hidden agenda? Well, if the rituals remained consistent and always produced the same results, then Klein knew the entity he was praying to had something in mind for him.
I feel like this symbol's gotta be really important too, right? This right here, what is this? Maybe it's nonsense. There's also like a smaller one over here, but like if you look at this thing, I don't know. Looks weird, like roots and shit, like veins and ew.
was praying to had something in mind for him. And if that was the case, then he didn't want to modify the ritual in a way that would anger them. So, whatever the answer may be, the most important question was figuring out who that entity was.
Okay.
Where were they and why didn't they communicate with Klein at all? Was it possible they were deeper into the fog than he was, or was it just that they had fallen asleep somewhere?
I don't know. What is this entity? Is it the Fool, or is this the mysterious ruler that exists above the great fog?
These were the questions Klein needed answers to, alongside the meaning of the constant murmur.
No. The symbol stuff on the throne, there's a lot of like association with the Hornassus chairs. Like remember the Hornassus Peak chair and like what exists on this throne? We've already done the analysis of that. Could he be deep in the world of fog? Can I treat him with an entity in slumber? Like this is basically Klein is the person that's supposed to be the mysterious ruler is sleeping. And we're simply his proxy right now. Why? I don't know. An entity that would give fixed responses if I gave him a certain stimulus, but would I not interfere with that? I do with other than that. Then can I introduce a different ritual and stimulus? I can include whatever the feedback I raise regular. I don't know. This is a very big and important mystery.
Rings Hornassus and Phlegria, two words he assumed were associated with the antagonist family.
That's right.
It was all this, his questions and his notes, which were written in Chinese, made as a summary for what he'd learned this past week. He would do so every week after too, making sure to gather his thoughts as best he could.
What if this ends up being the Fool's diary in the future? What if like people find out of this diary and connect it to the symbols that look like Emperor Rozel's diary and they're like, yo, this is fucked up. What if people think Klein is Emperor Rozel reincarnated? Yeah, he burned him, but like imagine this. Imagine in the future, some like proof gets out that he's writing in Chinese and other people like compare it. Could you imagine? And they're like, holy shit, are you Emperor Rozel reincarnated?
The thing about writing in Chinese, though, is that once those notes were finished, Klein would burn them.
It's dangerous.
He would always make sure not to leave any traces of his connection to Rozel. Reason being that to reveal that would cause way more trouble than he could handle. Now, most of these answers...
I don't even know how Emperor Rozel is viewed in current society. Is he treated as a mad emperor who had to be put down and therefore was quote-unquote assassinated? Or did he have a very gracious ending? I don't know, but I want to know. Like, why did the people unite against him? Did he really fuck up as a leader? Did he actually die? Did he achieve godhood and disappear? Who knows?
He would have to figure out on his own, but...
1 second, audio issues. Uno momento. And 3, 2, 1. Let's get it.
What he was able to get help with was Hornassus. This brings us to the
mountain
unsettling knowledge
range.
Klein unearthed while with Azek, revealing the Evernight Nation's reverence and fear towards the darkness of the night. It was here This brings us to the unsettling knowledge Klein unearthed while with Azek, revealing the Evernight Nation's reverence and fear towards the darkness of the night. It was here that death was
They're
not
fearful.
the end, and the people who lived here made sure to treat it as such.
Yeah, death is literally not the end because their bodies and remains are gone. Where is it? Did the Evernight goddess take the body? Corpse collector shit? Where is it, bro?
It was aside from their strange customs regarding the dead, though, that the most unsettling thing about them was their disappearance. The way everyone left as if they'd just vanished created for the biggest mystery here. The one answer Klein did manage to get, though, was that the nation of the Evernight was for sure the place he saw in his dream.
Yeah.
The only difference was the majestic, godlike throne swarmed by countless translucent maggots underneath.
Ew. These are supposed to be maggots? Yeah, this throne is important. I think there's a lot of like important symbols, decorations that also has similarities in the throne in the mysterious palace that we live in. Maybe this is a misdirection, but very important shit.
So, with headway being made on that front, it was here during...
What did they say about the secret? There's like a very important ornament. What did they say? A treasure? There's like an important treasure at the top of Hornassus Peak is what they said, right? That's like our new main quest line has been established, right? And how Klein was comparing how, yeah, like an artifact. I was just wondering if like these jewel encrusted things on the, like what if this is the Antigona's treasure, you know? Like what if the stuff on the throne we've already seen the treasure or something? Anyways.
was that the nation of the Evernight was for sure the place he saw in his dream.
Okay.
The only difference was the majestic, godlike throne swarmed by countless translucent maggots underneath.
Ew.
So, with headway being made on that front, it was here during this conversation that Isaac would bring up the idea of coincidences. This would lead Klein to reflect on.
Dude, Mr. Isaac is such an interesting character because of his memory loss mechanic. Because he's been alive for over 1,000 years. He might as well be existed like the beginning of the 5th epic, right? This dude, like, dude, what if he, like, what am I even trying to say? Like, what if he was associated with like Roselle somehow? The timeline matches up. Like I think this guy has been in so many like pivotal moments in history, but he doesn't even remember it. And later on, when we understand his different lives, not Mr. Isaac Eggers right now, but the previous lives, like, I think that's going to be mind-blowing. I think that there is so much secrets hidden within him, and it's going to be a mindfuck when we realize the other positions that he had in the past.
This would lead Klein to reflect on if there were any, and from it he would come to see there were 3. The first was the matter of the kidnappers. What was supposed to be an unrelated incident somehow led to clues regarding the whereabouts of the Antigonus family notebook.
Exactly. Every one of these events makes sure that Klein is on the path to the sequence and, seer sequence to climb that shit. And what else is there? The Antigonus diary. Like, everything is trying to point him, go to Hornassus, become a high-level sequence.
All which happened to be in a room conveniently next to the kidnappers.
Yeah.
Next was the incident with Ray Bieber, since while he could have left Tingen.
Like, another thing about Mr. Isaac's like identity is, what if he was like the descendant of like the Tudor Empire, the Tudor dynasty, Solomon stuff, Augustus stuff, you know, like these important family names that's been mentioned. I think Mr. Isaac absolutely is from one of those important families. It's just we don't know which and why. Maybe it has no meaning to it, but it's just like, this motherfucker, bro. Like, and we're never gonna get the mysteries out because he's forgotten it. He's just forgotten it, so we'll never know. He himself doesn't know.
And digested the notebook's powers safely anytime he wanted. He instead stayed close, allowing 2-049 to track him. It was a decision that seemingly went against common sense. Klein's colleague chalked it up to his semi-insane mental state, but Klein himself knew it was a bit too coincidental. Finally, there was the incident with Selena, a girl who bore witness to Vincent's secret incantation, yet waited till her birthday to try it out.
That's right.
A day which also happened to be the same one that Klein was present.
Bruh.
So, with these 3 separate incidents all being tied to the notebook.
And even before all this, how Klein, before pre-transmigration Klein, Welch Naya were given the notebook by Hannes Vincent to decipher it. Like, all of these incidences, come on, bruh. At what point do you say this is all planned?
It was clear now more than ever that something was afoot.
Yeah.
As Roselle himself once said, a single coincidence is encountered by anyone.
That's right.
Twice is still normal.
That's right.
Twice is when one should consider what internal factors are influencing those coincidences.
Like, how many times do I give you guys this analogy, right? This analogy that like if you have, right? If you have a graph and you see simply a dot on the graph, what does it mean? It means nothing. But if you keep having these dots on the graph, maybe at a certain point you have to ask yourself, is there a line, a pattern of behavior? A pattern of behavior that this is all a fucking coincidences, you know? Like, these are not outlier cases. These are like many things happening over and over again. Nah. There's something else going on. It's just at this point, we know that the feather quill stuff is involved. It has to be. The scribbling, writing, the symbolism that exists with that feather and the author that might be behind it absolutely is involved. But is it the only? Are we thinking too small right now, thinking it's just a feather? What if that's all misdirection? What if it doesn't matter at all and something else entirely different? I still think that the Antigonus diary has a mind of its own, and it is trying to like I made that Lord of the Rings comparison, right? How the ring has a mind of its own and it corrupts like the people that is in power of it. Also, by the way, when I ask these questions, I'm not asking for answers. You're not supposed to say yes or no. because you're basically indirectly confirming my theories, which ruins it for everyone else. So please, just shut the fuck up whenever I ask these questions. These are all rhetorical questions. You'll know when to answer when I'm asking for clarifications on some things. But all these theory crafting questions, like, just don't bother confirming or denying. It helps nobody.
So, while at first glance these incidents seemed to have lacked someone's involvement or guidance, the fact 3 have happened in such a short span clearly indicated otherwise. That's when Klein would go home to investigate these occurrences, using divination to find more answers. I do plan on making a video discussing divination and Klein's powers in more detail, but for now just know that whenever he tries to divine something, it basically means seeking knowledge about the future or unknown through the supernatural.
Okay.
There are various methods of achieving this, but the first Klein had used was pendulum dowsing, a method that connected his astral projection to the spirit world. By using the natural material which was his spirit pendulum, he was able to communicate with spiritual intelligences and ask certain questions.
Cool.
All he had to do was write it on a desk, repeat the question 7 times over, then see whether the pendulum had turned or not.
7 times? Are you fucking serious?
If the pendulum turned counterclockwise, the answer was no or failure, but if turned clockwise, the answer meant yes or success.
Just fucking ask this shit 7 times, see which direction it spins in.
So, after asking his first question of whether the kidnapping was due to Beyonder elements, the pendulum's answer was no.
These are very like yes or no, true false answers, huh? Like nothing else. Like we can't be asking it detailed like questions like, hey, what's the ingredient for the clown potion? Nah, it's gotta be like yes or no.
He would ask several more times in different ways, but every time the answer would remain the same.
Okay.
As far as the spirits knew, there was nothing strange about the kidnapping incident. The same could be said for the other 2 incidents as well, indicating the answers he wanted weren't going to be found via pendulum dowsing. That's when Klein would switch things up to dream divination, repeating a question then allowing his astral projection to roam the spirit world for answers. The question this time was the true reason for Elliot's kidnapping, but once again, he could find nothing. The hazy dreamscape, which would have revealed anything abnormal, went to show that nothing was out of the ordinary.
Okay.
It was the same for the other 2 incidents as well. Now, normally Klein would have ended his investigation there, but
is it just too cautious in the way that they have hidden their coincidences? Our divinations are not telling us anything? Or is it a... Actually, in the episode 2, wasn't Klein talking about how his seer pathway, he's too weak of a Beyonder to get full divinations? Well, no. That was kind of to look at the Red Chimney stuff, right? Where he's looking over, you know, Tengen, and he was fully digesting the potion. Then he realized relying too much on divinations is the cause of not fully, you know, just digesting the potion and getting it. But... all this shit, it's just very carefully hidden.
Because it was Isaac who told him to be wary, Klein knew he needed to keep going. Assuming there was in fact a higher power at play here, it was very possible his divinations weren't working due to outer interference or just not being a high enough sequence.
Exactly that. Like, he is just too weak. The other stuff, too powerful. We can't even tell there is something going wrong.
This led to the idea that he should divine above the gray fog, a place where his powers were clearly stronger.
This is also really interesting, because for whatever reason, above here, we use divinations, it is like 100x more effective. Was this also a coincidence? If we're again thinking about how everything Klein does, right, this is helping him. Seer pathway, digesting potions, getting more knowledge. So the mysterious world above the gray fog, getting this, the luck enhancement ritual stuff, was that also part of the equation? Maybe this is the only coincidence that exists.
And sure enough, his divination results revealed that there was in fact a Beyonder element with the kidnapping incident.
Yeah.
Using dream divination now revealed the same red chimneys we saw in the anime, along with the colorful lawn and garden. They were all locations related to the prompt inquiring about the true reason for the kidnapping incident.
I'm assuming this is where the Aurora Order is doing their crazy shit, right? It's not completely confirmed, but it's heavily implied that, like, this is their operation. Whatever bad thing is happening with the true creator shit and, like, fucking Magos or whatever, like, isn't this place?
This wasn't enough to draw any conclusions from, but it was certainly a good place to work off of. It was when Klein went to divine the Bieber and magic mirror incident next that his pendulum would remain stationary. It was an outcome that neither confirmed nor denied what he was asking.
Maybe.
No, it instead indicated what Klein assumed was a countermeasure against him. He believed the person behind all this had sensed his prying and...
I mean, don't we also know in the assassin pathway that the witch is able to like counter divinations? I'm not saying that an assassin pathway is at work here, but clearly we have seen other incidences where other beyonders of different sequences, they can counter divination stuff, therefore this is very likely.
As a result, engaged in countermeasures to block it.
Yeah, the
It was a clear
countermeasures.
sign that he needed to get stronger himself. So, more than anything, Klein wanted to succeed in his acting now. Also, he could digest his seer potion and move on to clown. It was the idea of doing so that went to pique his curiosity.
I'm scared to talk to the church about the clown potion though. I think they would be very on guard. I don't know how they would feel about Klein. You know, I don't know if the church has any eyes on Klein right now, but like with the nature of the seer pathway and how the Antigonus family got destroyed by the Evernight goddess in the 4th epic, like and how they tried to hide the, you know, seer pathway. What are they gonna ask? Hey, where did you get this information? I don't know. I would just like, would they interrogate us? You know, like I'm scared.
Leading him to divine for clues about the clown potion. His dream would first take him to the place that Bieber once stayed, evident by the bloated cadaver he'd seen before. The next was the bones and flesh mushed into a ball,
The brain
culminating
matter.
with what looked to be like a brain being extracted.
Yes.
After came the suited clown's wrist.
Secret order.
Next was the original
Blood.
Klein's meeting in Welch's apartment, then
3-part.
finally was the notebook being traded to Vincent.
All
This
important
we all
stuff.
saw in the anime, symbolizing the potion's connection to the Antigonus family's notebook.
Yes.
So, to sum it all up, there was Bieber's house, his hideout spot and his remains, the brand on the suited clown's wrist, Welch's house, Welch, Naya, and even Klein, then Welch, Vincent, and the group photo with the notebook.
It's all related.
All except for the suited clown's brand had ties to the notebook. The fact it was in his divinations meant it was likely associated too, though, so Klein came
Yeah, the secret order, right? They're absolutely related to the Antigonus diary. They're all about the Antigonus family. They obsess about the seer pathway.
up with two possible explanations for it. The first was that he was being guided to use the secret order as bait.
And not only that, the clown literally was able to give us the name of sequence 8 of the seer pathway. That's a very important thing too. It's not just the ingredients of the potion. You need to know the sequence name and then the ingredients.
Mainly as a means to obtain the clown potion. The other was that the clown potion was directly recorded into the notebook itself, and the secret order just had very deep connections to it. It was possible its leader Zaratul and the Antigonus family could have been allies or enemies.
I think they're allies. I think that Zeratul... I don't know if Zeratul is a last name or not, but he could be a descendant of the Antigonus family, but I think that it makes sense that they would be on good terms considering how they literally, like, they're all about the Antigonus family. Maybe they hate them. Maybe there is a situation that they hate them, but they love the powers, therefore they're studying off of them. But I think that there's a good rapport there.
To assume any further would only invite trouble, since this was as far as a seer could see. Unless the sign was simple and straightforward, a seer always had to be careful when making interpretations like these.
Okay.
The clown was a clear example of what would happen should one make a mistake when interpreting these signs. For now, investigating Sirius
Bald.
was definitely the best move, since he was the mysterious figure Klein was yet to identify in his vision.
Fucking Baldy. And the fact that he showed up immediately at Deweyville Library. What is up with that? Just another coincidence? Sure.
Klein would then pray to himself in order to gain the ability to draw, essentially asking himself for the divine assistance which would allow him to sketch Sirius's image properly.
That's kind of bullshit. He's praying to himself. Bro has figured out a loophole where he can like use the 3-part incantation, the fool that doesn't belong to this era, the mysterious ruler above the gray fog, the king of black and yellow who wields good luck. Like but like he can like phase in and phase out, and he can just like refer to himself as that shit. And he can this. It's like attending a church and asking for donations, and you're basically giving yourself money. Anyways, you're like giving yourself a medal. There's something funny about this loop.
Who knows what the extent of praying to oneself does, but it was through clever use of the Grey Fog that Klein was able to invoke himself as a divine intermediary.
It's very clever, right? It's a very unique thing that Klein can do. Praying to him, well, he's not really praying to himself necessarily, right? Because Klein is simply, again, taking the seat of the absence of who the true ruler may be, like we talked about in the earlier part of the video. Who knows what this mysterious ruler about the Grey Fog is? Is he sleeping? Is he gone? Who knows? But Klein is there, and he is somehow worthy enough to invoke that, and he can just pray to himself in this three-party. It's funny. It's really funny.
Now, it was prior to discovering the last acting principle that Klein would first make steps towards that revelation.
That's right.
It was a concept that would lead to his full digestion of the potion.
Don't rely on divination.
One which centered upon how minuscule a seer was when compared to the vastness of fate. With them only seeing a hazy corner of what could only be considered an endless ocean, a seer needed to know what they received from it was always revelations, never answers. Yes, they were within their rights to reflect on them and learn from them, but what they needed to remember was to respect and revere them too.
Okay.
It was of the utmost importance to decipher these hints with caution.
Like, don't get cocky. This is not you getting answers to everything. Be respectful and don't abuse this power thinking you're going to get answers to everything.
Never overstepping their bounds to think that they were the ones in control.
Okay.
It was upon...
Like, you are, at the end of the day, getting these divinations through the help of God, so don't get cocky thinking that you can see God through these things. Even though we kind of did, right? We kind of divined the mutated sun emblem, and then we were able to see the fucking golden god sun eternal blazing. That was some crazy shit.
Understanding this, that Klein's spirit vision had become clearer, indicating his seer potion had digested further. That, however, is only one of the factors of digesting, since to act the seer also means to exemplify that understanding with his actions. So, by helping others
Divination
interpret
Club.
revelations while also maintaining their fear and respect of fate,
Yeah.
that also helps the potion to digest too.
I can't wait for Klein to go join a circus and make balloon animals and act as a court jester and make people laugh. Maybe he'll do stand-up comedy. I don't know, bro. It's gonna be fun to see what kind of acting principle's gonna happen when he becomes a clown.
It was a method of acting the suited clown had helped him pick up.
Like, bro is literally making clown makeup. Klein's gonna have to do that shit too. Like, this is gonna be hilarious.
Without him and his sacrifice, Klein would have spent a lot longer trying to figure out what it truly meant to act. So, to tie everything all together now, the Antigonus family's notebook serves as the centerpiece for all that's happened so far. The secret order had lost possession of it.
AniNews has not once mentioned the feather at all, though, huh? Because even though it seems obvious to us, it is a mystery, and maybe he shouldn't be explicitly stating stuff that would give out spoilers and answers. I thought that he would at least mention the existence of a feather in the background with writing noises that would clearly imply that, you know, oh, feather's not in the novel? That's kind of crazy. So the Donghua is really, really being obvious. Okay. So that's actually crazy, because when the plot twists happen, like, clearly we're building up to something, and a revelation will it's just gonna hit us in the back of the head. As a novel reader, to experience that without even knowing what the feather, that must be a fucking shell shock. That must be literally just, I can't even imagine. Because, like, Donghua, it's being very obvious, right? They are really, really suggesting and hinting that, like, hey, look at this thing! It's here every time! Oh, that's kind of crazy.
But then, eventually it ended up in the hands of Welch. Their interpretation of it then spurred the original Klein to commit suicide by gunshot, bringing about Klein's transmigration immediately after. The incidents of episodes 2 to 6 were then these fateful coincidences, all leading Klein to the notebook, seemingly orchestrated by someone of a higher power. The notebook is still actively being searched for by the secret order though, the leader of which influenced Roselle, who then influenced Klein to choose the seer path.
That's right, Zeratul was a seer and Roselle got trolled by Zeratul, and Roselle said, I'm gonna fuck up any seers in the future, right? Like Roselle asked Zeratul for a question, and Zeratul just like laughed at him and smiled at him, and he was like, this motherfucker.
The notebook potentially contains details regarding more of the seer pathway, a path which is now known to be that of the Antigonus families.
But this is getting shipped off to the Central Cathedral in Backland right now, right? Because like it was in Tingen for a bit, in the Chinese Gate, and clearly it influenced that relic to give out Klein that symbol, right, of the vertical eye. But regardless, the diary is no longer here. And also the diary influenced the doll. That's why I think that it, again, has a mind of its own. So, can we tell Audrey to get it? Hey Audrey, what's your connections to the Evernight Goddess Church, the Central Cathedral? Hey Audrey, can you like use your money and bribe the church and retrieve the Antigonus diary? That'd be really powerful.
What we just found out in episode 7 is that the notebook ended up in Welch's hands due to a mutual connection between Sirius and Vincent.
Coincidence? I think not.
Sirius was a member working for the Aurora Order, a new organization we see planning some sort of doomsday plot.
That's right.
It's all
the
that
true
that's
creator's
followed
coming
up by
down.
the revelation of divination not being all powerful, the final understanding Klein needed to come to in order to fully digest the potion. It's a climactic cliffhanger alongside that of the Aurora Order. But yeah, that's everything going on in Lord of Mysteries so far.
Good summary.
I know this isn't the format of video that I usually do, but considering the way the anime's jumping between chapters connecting story events later, I think the best way to approach this is to do lore dumps after the fact.
Yeah, because again, the reordering of these events, right? Things happening in the future not even being covered yet or vice versa, it is gonna end up, spoiling. So I guess this is tricky, right? It's tricky in how to, cover this because it's not going one-to-one. So we'll see. I'm always down for lore dump stuff after.
This, however, was more of a summary clearing things up, mixed with a little bit of cut content too. It's something a little different I wanted to experiment with.
It's very tricky. I think he handled it in a great way.
I'll probably be experimenting a bit more in the future too, just because this is a show I definitely want to keep covering.
Do it!
I just can't fully commit to the cut content since there's so much lore and not enough time to make proper videos for it.
Yeah.
Hopefully this video does well and I can commit more time to doing Lord of Mysteries content, but if not, then they'll just have to come out between the Overlord videos.
Again, right? It's unfortunate, but if we look at his channel, right? How well does the Overlord videos do compared to the Lord of the Mysteries? Oh yeah, it's not even... Yeah. In the beginning, it was obviously nice because of the trends, but obviously it's going to die down. And you can clearly see a drastic difference in the viewership of Overlord stuff compared to that. And it's unfortunate, but that's how it works on YouTube, right? And these two do well, but like, it's hard to justify covering this because the more you make content on something the overall audience doesn't really fuck with, the more punished you get in the algorithm. It's in your best interest to cover Overlord because this is doing really fucking well. This is fucking crazy, man. Anyways.
It's an unfortunate circumstance of the performance just not doing that great.
Yeah.
But anyway, if you liked what you...
That's one of the most frustrating things about YouTube, where passion hardly ever gets rewarded. It's all about being a servant to your audience that the algorithm has deemed to be your audience and to understand what they wanted to give them that content. Even if you love this specific series so much, like for me too, right? I want to react to so many other stuff, but I can't because it's going to do bad and that's going to kill my channel. And this is a business venture. So it is a very frustrating thing, but we got to find compromises. I'm so grateful that AniNews is still covering Lord of the Mysteries. Shout out to the hashtag ad. That's actually kind of wild, actually, that he even... Like, I'm shocked that he actually watched my reactions. Maybe he doesn't, but the fact that he named me of all these different reactors out there is an honor. We've been covering this guy's channel for how long? Again, it's been years. It's been 2 to 3 years. And the fact that I have come this far along with you guys feels like kind of like a milestone, huh? It's like a journey. Anyways, thank you for the summary, AniNews. Appreciate it. Please go give the video a like. Here's a link to the video. Go subscribe to AniNews and support his other content if you want to. And I'll see you next time.